Assalamu alaikum. Muslims are the largest number of refugees in the world. Do I need to tell you that? Fatimas and Aishas of the world are running away from rape, from murder, and from bombs. Brothers and sisters, alhamdulillah, we donate. Continue to do that. But we must stop attacks on Muslims. This vicious cycle of war, terror, and Islamophobia must be broken. It leads to genocide. We must support our brothers and sisters, but we must work smart. We must stop this refugee-creating machine. Let's take an example. What happened to Rohingyas in Burma? Rohingyas are indigenous people of Burma living in their ancestral land. They started first calling them terrorists, foreigners, illegals, insects, pigs. So dehumanization comes first before genocide. And now they're doing that to India. Then Burma took away the citizenship of Rohingya Muslims in 1982. Now they're doing that to Indian Muslims. Burma then started forcing them out. They threw them out 5 times. Can you imagine? Your home torched by neighbors once? No. Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Now they're trying to bulldoze mosques and homes in India, as you can see on this screen. Then in 1982, they took away the citizenship of Rohingyas. They lost their jobs as a result. They cannot travel. They cannot get into schools. Life became impossible. They created apartheid before genocide. In 2012, they started attacking Muslims at a larger level. Here's the whole neighborhood in Sitwe, the largest city of that area. 150,000 Muslims were marched by military to detention camps. Most of them are still in those detention camps. New York Times called them the concentration camps of the 21st century. Then they shut down in 2012 all the masjid and all the madrasas. You can't pray. This is when, 10 years ago, we established Burma Task Force. It's a united front of all Muslims in America and Canada to help Rohingyas. While we were working on it, came 2017. And that's where the final solution by Burmese military for Rohingya began. I was there in September 2017. I saw from my eyes Rohingya brothers and sisters coming, lines after lines, honorable people with sabr, silently coming. I kept meeting leaders, common people, business shopkeepers, farmers, a lot of them, farmers, imams, and some mayors of some cities. At one point, even we had a hut office of Burma Task Force in the refugee camp. You can see in this image. Here's Imam Abdul Ghafoor of Tulatuli. He's one of the 5 imams who survived to tell this story. Tulatuli is a peaceful village set in a beautiful lush green hilly area. It's surrounded 3 sides by a rapidly flowing mountain river. This is Badiur Rahman. He passed away just a few days ago, 92-year-old mayor of Tulatuli. He told me there were about 4,000 Muslims in Tulatuli, and many refugees from other areas came there, so number may be higher. There is no official number of how many were murdered. Some people say 1,700 murdered, counting those other villages, people who came there. But there is one human rights organization which has developed a list of 500 people whose names are there. I have all the names there who were slaughtered. Rest of them fled to Bangladesh. No Muslims is left in Tulatuli now. There were 5 imams, as I mentioned, only 1 imam is living. All were murdered. As I went up and down the hills, where these latest refugees now live, in plastic and bamboo huts, I kept meeting survivors of massacres or the other. Whenever I started talking to one person, other people will gather because they were coming. Everybody has a trauma. So they want to tell their stories, but they will be silent with sabr, waiting. Rohingyas have a lot of sabr, mashallah. And eventually, conversation with one person will turn into a sort of a group meeting. So I started asking my question in general. For example, whenever I ask, how many of them have seen someone being killed? Almost everybody will raise hand. I conservatively estimate 40% people almost all the time will raise their hands. This teenager, for example, was standing silent in a group. I was talking to other people. Since he was the most silent one, I asked him, "What is your name?" He said, "Noor Muhammad." I hugged him. I could feel his heartbeat. He has no tears. Probably tears were all gone. But heartbeats were telling me he's crying. He hid in a bush while he saw all the 18 family members, his parents, his brothers and sisters, his brother's two spouses. He has two brothers, they have their spouses, and their children. He saw all of them. He showed me a little photo on a little tiny screen, and I thought they were alive. Only then he told me, no, they, along with their father, who was his brother, and mother, were slaughtered also. He had no one left. The United Nations and the US State Department did a survey of how many Muslim women were raped. This is Anwara. She was 14-year-old. Her parents and siblings were murdered. She was dragged by soldiers, and all night they violated her. She got up unconscious, and then she realized she has no clothes on, so hid in a vegetable patch, and they brought her in. And here you see a whole lot of sisters. They all insisted that their names and photos be used. They say, we have nothing to hide. Now all these sisters are sitting in Bangladesh for the last 5 years, waiting for justice. This is the first thing they say. Waiting for their citizenship in Burma, which was taken away. Waiting to go back to their ancestral village. A third generation of Rohingyas are being raised as illiterate. Nowhere on the earth a third generation of people, despite a school being available, is forced to stay illiterate. Brothers and sisters, we need to help them. This is what Burma Task Force does, stopping genocide. This is what Justice for All does, a human rights organization. We're in the International Criminal Court, ICC that is, with this information. We submitted our research to International Court of Justice, ICJ. We need to stop this genocide. We need to prevent future genocides as well. Now they are trying to do the same thing in India. And New York Times actually warned us several years ago. It is not an article, it is an editorial. Just look at it. It was published October 15th, 2014. It is titled editorial, Deadly Alliances Against Muslims. It grabbed my attention. I looked at it. Yes, deadly alliances. And what they are saying in that? Extremist Buddhists of Burma who committed genocide are collaborating and conspiring against Muslims with RSS, BJP, Hindus of India. Where Hitler is popular, people who killed Gandhi. They're conspiring with them. And of course also in Sri Lankan Buddhists against the Muslim minorities. They are working together, brothers and sisters. Where are we? It is critical that we stand against genocide. It is not just Rohingya facing genocide in Burma. Indian Muslims in India are facing genocide. Uyghurs in China, Syrians and Yemenis are looking for refuge, brothers and sisters. Palestinian and Kashmiris are looking for freedom. Friends, Muslims are looking for you. Muslims are striving for freedom, justice, and Islam. We are free. They are not. It is our duty to stand up for them. It is the honorable thing to do. Helping refugees is great. We should do that. But stopping that machine of genocide, which creates refugees, is the smart thing to do. We must break this cycle of war, terror, and Islamophobia. This is what Justice for All does. Come join us. Come join this noble work. It is difficult, but it's doable. Muslims working together stop genocide in Bosnia. We could do it again. Please join us and donate today. Give your time. Give your money. You are free. They are not. And it's an honorable struggle for freedom, justice, and Islam. Assalamu alaikum.